Have you ever felt that someone appears in your life at the exact right moment, as if destiny had placed them there? It's not a coincidence. Some connections go beyond logic, encounters that seem written into an invisible plan. Carl Jung taught us that our most significant relationships don't arise by chance. There are deep forces at work in our psyche and in the collective unconscious. When the energy of two souls aligns, their paths inevitably attract each other. It's not just about chemistry or superficial compatibility, but about a deeper resonance, where the hidden archetypes within our psyche come into play. Jung spoke of synchronicity, those events that seem random, but actually carry a hidden meaning, a connection that transcends time and space. This attraction between two people doesn't emerge solely from desire or conscious logic, but from something far more powerful, the unconscious. Within each of us exists a hidden world, a space where our shadows dwell, along with our repressed memories and most authentic desires. And when we meet someone who touches the deepest fibers of our being, we feel it instantly. It's as if the soul recognizes something familiar in the other, as if an invisible bridge connects two destinies. It's not just that you feel good around that person. It's that something deep within you tells you there's something to learn from them. They might be a teacher disguised as a lover, a mirror reflecting your own shadows, or even someone who comes to help you heal wounds you didn't even know you had. Jung taught us that the people who enter our lives serve a purpose. Even those who challenge us or hurt us are not there by accident. They represent a part of ourselves that we need to discover or integrate. When you meet someone and feel that immediate connection, you're actually sensing the energy of your own unconscious reflected in them. Many times, what attracts us most about someone isn't their appearance or personality, but the way they awaken hidden aspects within us. That's why some relationships feel inevitable, as if an invisible force is pushing us toward them. Jung would say, this is the psyche seeking wholeness, an attempt of the soul to complete itself through the other. But here lies the true mystery. That same attraction can be a blessing or a warning, because just as the unconscious guides us toward growth, it can also lead us to repeat destructive patterns. Have you ever wondered why you feel drawn to people who end up hurting you? Why do you fall into the same types of relationships over and over again? Jung would tell us it's not a coincidence, but the result of unresolved wounds seeking to be healed through our relationships. The unconscious projects onto others what we have yet to recognize within ourselves. If you carry within you fear of abandonment, insecurity, or past wounds, you will attract people who reflect those same wounds. Not because destiny is cruel, but because your psyche is trying to heal through repetition. It's as if the universe places a mirror in front of you so that you finally confront what you've been avoiding. But if you're not aware of it, you'll end up trapped in a cycle of pain, not understanding why you keep attracting the same experiences. That's why the deepest relationships don't just bring happiness, they also bring our shadows to light. Jung taught us that true love isn't just a source of pleasure, it's also a path to self-discovery. The people who leave a lasting mark on our lives are those who, in some way, force us to see ourselves with greater clarity. And although the process can be painful, it's also an invaluable opportunity for growth and evolution. Not all the connections we experience are meant to stay. Some enter our lives only to fulfill a specific purpose, to teach us something we need to learn before moving forward. The real question isn't why certain people come and go in your life, but rather, what lesson did they leave within you? When you allow yourself to see your relationships from this perspective, the pain of loss transforms into gratitude and learning. You stop clinging to those who are no longer present and begin to understand that every connection has its own time and meaning. Souls meet when they have something to teach each other. Sometimes the lesson is love. Other times it is detachment. And occasionally it is simply a reminder of who we are at our deepest core. But what is certain is that every encounter leaves an imprint on our psyche, an echo in our unconscious that transforms us in ways we cannot even imagine. When the energy of two souls aligns, no barrier can prevent their connection. But when that energy becomes misaligned, no effort will be enough to keep those people together. Jung teaches us that true harmony is not about forcing things, but about allowing them to flow naturally. If a connection is genuine, it will withstand the test of time and personal growth. But if a relationship starts to feel forced, it is a sign that something has changed, that the paths are beginning to diverge. The biggest mistake we make is holding on to people or relationships that no longer vibrate at our same frequency. We cling out of fear, out of habit, or because we believe we will never find something better. But when you hold on to what no longer belongs to you, you close yourself off to the possibility of something new, something more aligned with your evolution, entering your life. Jung would say that this resistance to change is part of the ego, the part of us that fears the unknown and prefers the familiar, even if the familiar causes us pain. But the truth is that life is always guiding us to where we truly need to be. And when you trust that process, you begin to see that every ending is, in reality, a new beginning. When you allow relationships that have fulfilled their purpose to leave, you create space for new connections to come. Connections that reflect your true self in this moment of your life. True love is not possession or control, but freedom and growth. It is not about finding someone to fill our voids, but about sharing our wholeness with another being. When two souls meet at the right time, their connection transcends logic, time, and space. They do not need explanations or justifications. They simply exist. And when this happens, the energy between them becomes so powerful that their paths are drawn together irresistibly. But for this to happen, you must first do the inner work. You must explore your shadows, heal your wounds, and know yourself on a deep level. Because only when you are truly aware of who you are, can you attract people who resonate with your true essence. Jung taught us that the greatest adventure in life is not finding someone else, but finding ourselves. And when we do, the right connections come into our lives naturally, without the need to force them. So the next time you feel that unexplainable connection with someone, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what is this person showing me about myself? What parts of my unconscious are emerging through this relationship? Is this a connection that nourishes and expands me? Or is it a reflection of patterns I need to break? Because in the end, the answer is not outside, but within you. And when you understand this, you begin to see relationships from a new perspective, not as a desperate search for love or companionship, but as a path to self-knowledge and transformation. This is where true power lies, in understanding that every connection is a reflection of our own inner journey. When the energy of two souls aligns, their paths are drawn together irresistibly. But remember, destiny is not an act of chance, but the result of the energy you emit and the awareness you have of yourself. Ultimately, the best way to attract the right love is to become the best version of yourself. When you start working on your inner world, something almost magical happens. The people you once connected with begin to drift away, and those who truly resonate with your new energy start to appear. This is not a coincidence. It is a reflection of your internal transformation. Carl Jung taught us that the human psyche is not just a container for thoughts and memories, but a vibrational field that interacts with reality. What happens in your unconscious mind is reflected in the world around you. This is why some people seem to find love at the perfect moment, while others remain trapped in cycles of failed relationships. It is not a matter of luck, but of awareness. If you still have unresolved wounds within you, you will attract those who reflect those wounds. If deep inside you believe that love is painful, you will end up in relationships where that belief becomes a reality. Jung would say that it is not fate punishing you, but rather your own unconscious trying to show you what still needs healing. This phenomenon is called projection. What you see in others is actually a reflection of something within you. This is why some people inspire us, while others trigger rejection or even pain, not because they possess something special, but because they awaken parts of our psyche that we have yet to integrate. Jung believed that the unconscious seeks wholeness and does so through relationships. What attracts or repels you the most about someone is, in reality, a message from your soul, a code that reveals what you still need to understand about yourself. Once you grasp this concept, your relationships will change forever. You will no longer feel like a victim of destiny, but will begin to understand that every person who enters your life has a purpose. Some are there to love you, others to challenge you, and others simply to teach you how to let go. But all, without exception, are reflections of your own energy. When you realize this, you stop desperately searching for the right person and start working on becoming the best version of yourself. Because only when you are whole within can you attract someone who resonates with that wholeness. But this path is not easy. Jung warned us that self-knowledge requires courage because it means facing what you have avoided for years. It means looking within and recognizing your fears, your wounds, and your shadows. It means accepting that some relationships didn't work out because deep down, you weren't truly ready for the love you claimed to want. We like to believe that love simply arrives in our lives without effort. But the truth is, love is something we build from within. If your inner world is chaotic, you will attract chaos. If you carry fear within, you will attract relationships filled with insecurity. But if there is peace within you, you will attract relationships that reflect that peace. It is a universal law. So before asking yourself why you haven't found the connection you desire, ask yourself a more important question. Who am I at this moment? Because the kind of love you receive will always be a reflection of the love you have for yourself. If you do not value yourself, you will attract people who do not value you either. If you do not respect yourself, you will attract those who cross your boundaries. But if there is clarity and self-love within you, toxic relationships will simply disappear from your life. Jung taught us that life is not about finding someone else, but about finding ourselves. And once we do, the right relationships come effortlessly, not because we are desperately searching, but because our energy has aligned with true love. When you understand this, the fear of loneliness disappears. You no longer see being single as a failure, but as an opportunity to work on yourself. You no longer cling to relationships that hurt you, because you understand that love is not about suffering, but about expansion. And most importantly, you stop looking for someone to complete you, because you realize you are already complete. And at that moment, true magic happens. When you stop searching from a place of lack and begin to vibrate in wholeness, the right person enters your life, not because you need them, but because they resonate with the energy you have cultivated. This is why so many people find love when they stop looking for it. It is not a coincidence. It is the law of attraction at its deepest level. Jung said that the most meaningful relationships are those in which two people help each other evolve. It's not about dependence or filling voids, but about sharing a journey of growth. And when two souls who have worked on themselves meet, the bond they create is unbreakable. There is no fear, no manipulation, no games, only authenticity and love in its purest form. But to reach that point, you must first do the inner work. You must heal your wounds, face your shadows, and learn to love yourself as you are. Only then will you be truly ready to receive the love you genuinely deserve. The next time you feel a deep connection with someone, ask yourself, does this person reflect my evolution or my wounds? Is this a relationship based on growth or on repeating old patterns? The answer to these questions will reveal whether that bond is a blessing or a lesson in disguise. Because in the end, destiny is not an inexplicable mystery. It is the consequence of who you are within. And when you transform from within, everything around you begins to change, including and especially the people who enter your life. When two souls on the same vibrational level meet, there is a feeling of familiarity, of home. It is not just physical or emotional attraction. It is something deeper, as if something in the other person awakens a truth that has always been within you. Jung would call it an encounter with the anima, or animus, the aspects of the unconscious that represent the masculine or feminine part within us. Throughout our lives, we cross paths with many people, but only a few leave a real mark. Those few who transform us do not appear by chance. They are a reflection of our evolving psyche. If you are in a period of growth, you will attract someone who propels that evolution, If you still have unresolved fears, you will attract someone who mirrors them. That is why the most intense connections are not always the easiest. Sometimes the person who impacts you the most is not the one who gives you immediate peace, but the one who challenges you, who awakens your insecurities, who forces you to face yourself. These relationships are not always meant to last, but they have a purpose: to make you aware of aspects of yourself that you previously ignored. But here's the problem. Many people mistake these bonds for true love and end up trapped in destructive relationships, believing that suffering is part of the connection. Jung warned that if we are not aware of our shadow, we end up projecting it onto others. In other words, if you have not healed your wounds, you will attract someone who reflects them. And instead of working on yourself, you will get lost in the illusion that the problem is the other person. Have you ever noticed that after leaving a difficult relationship, similar situations repeat themselves with different people? It's because the problem was never the other person. It was the energy you carried within, the unconscious patterns you kept repeating without realizing it. True love, the kind Jung would describe as a connection of souls, does not create unnecessary suffering. It is not about drama or emotional dependence. It is a love where both individuals meet in their best version, without the need for manipulation or power games. However, reaching this kind of connection requires something that many people are unwilling to do: the inner work. It's easier to blame others, to say that love is unfair or that destiny is cruel. But the truth is, the love you experience in the external world is merely a reflection of the love you have cultivated within yourself. Jung said that until we make the unconscious conscious, it will continue to direct our lives, and we will call it destiny. In other words, you will keep repeating the same mistakes, encountering the same types of people, and attracting the same experiences until you finally take responsibility for your own energy. When you decide to do that inner work, change is inevitable. You stop feeling drawn to what once hurt you. You no longer seek validation from those who cannot give it to you. You stop romanticizing suffering and start seeing love for what it truly is: a space of growth, respect, and authenticity. And this is where true transformation happens. Because when you become the best version of yourself, the love you attract is no longer the same. You no longer seek someone to fill your voids, because those voids have already been healed. You no longer settle for crumbs, because you know you deserve something greater. And most importantly, you no longer feel that you need someone else to be happy, because you have found that happiness within yourself. That is the moment when the right person appears, not because you were desperately searching for them, but because you are now aligned with the energy that attracts the love you truly deserve. But to reach that point, there is something you must understand. Not all souls are ready to meet. Sometimes, even when two people feel an intense connection, their paths cannot merge because they still have lessons to learn separately. This doesn't mean the connection wasn't real. It simply means the timing wasn't right. Jung once said that the universe has its own rhythm, and that forcing a relationship before its time only brings suffering. If two souls are destined to be together, they eventually will be, but only when both are truly ready. In the meantime, the best way to honor that connection is not by holding on out of fear, but by growing individually. That way, if a reunion happens, it will come from a place of wholeness, not lack. This is where many people fail. They get stuck in the past, waiting for someone to return, without realizing that the true path is not backward, but forward. It's not about waiting for the other person to change. It's about changing yourself. Because if the connection is real, one's growth will inevitably propel the other's growth as well. Love is not a matter of luck, but of energy. It's not about chasing the right person, but about becoming the person who will naturally attract that authentic connection. If you still feel that love is eluding you, the question is not, when will someone come for me? But rather, who must I become to attract someone who aligns with my true self? And when you do this work, when you truly align with your purpose and authenticity, synchronicity comes into play. Jung said that coincidences do not exist, only resonances that manifest at the right moment. When your energy shifts, the universe responds. The right people appear, opportunities open up, and most importantly, relationships that once hurt you no longer have a place in your life. This is the greatest secret Jung wanted us to discover. Love is not found. It is created, not in another person, but within yourself. And when you cultivate it within, it manifests in the external world as if by magic. So stop searching desperately outside. Stop chasing those who cannot give you what you need. Stop clinging to relationships that have already served their purpose. Instead, turn your gaze inward. Work on your mind, your heart, and your soul. Because when you become the best version of yourself, the right person, the one whose energy truly resonates with yours, will arrive naturally. And when two souls who have done this inner work finally meet, there is no need for games, suffering, or doubt. They simply flow together because they have understood the deepest truth about love. It is not something you seek, but something you become. When you understand that love is not something you search for, but something you build within yourself, everything changes. You stop seeing relationships as a necessity and begin to see them as an extension of your personal growth. It is no longer about finding someone to make you feel complete, but about sharing your wholeness with another person. But this is only possible when you have done the inner work, when you have learned to recognize your patterns, heal your wounds, and free yourself from the limiting beliefs that have held you back for years. Because the moment you truly understand who you are and align with your truth, the right connections come naturally, without forcing, without chasing. This is where life places you in situations that once seemed impossible. Suddenly, you begin to meet people who resonate with your energy, those who push you forward, who inspire you, and who help you grow. Not because the universe has changed, but because you have changed. You no longer vibrate in fear or lack. Instead, you move through life with confidence and authenticity. And it is in this state where the most meaningful encounters occur, where two souls recognize each other not from a place of need, but from a place of freedom. Not because they are incomplete without each other, but because together they amplify their strength, their potential, their very essence. But there is something important you must remember. Not all connections are meant to last forever, and that is perfectly okay. Some people enter your life only to show you a new path, to teach you something you need to learn before you can move forward. And once you understand this, the fear of loss begins to fade. You no longer suffer when someone leaves because you recognize that everything has a purpose. You stop clinging to relationships that bring you pain because you understand that true love is not about suffering or sacrifice. It is about growth and harmony. And most importantly, you no longer see solitude as something negative, but as an opportunity to continue discovering yourself, to deepen your understanding of who you truly are. So if at this moment you feel like you haven't found the right person, stop looking outward and start looking inward. Ask yourself, am I truly ready for the connection I desire? Have I worked on myself enough to attract someone who genuinely aligns with my energy? Or am I unconsciously repeating past patterns without realizing it? Because the truth is, you don't need to find someone else to feel complete. You need to find yourself. And when you do, love will come as a natural consequence of your transformation. Now I want to ask you something. Have you ever experienced a connection so strong with someone that it felt like more than just coincidence? Do you believe that our relationships are reflections of our inner state? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I truly want to hear what you think. And if this message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe there's someone in your life right now wondering why they keep attracting the same types of relationships, or why certain people seem to enter and leave their life at specific moments. Together, we can help more people awaken and start transforming the way they perceive love and human connections. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the upcoming videos. Here, we explore the mysteries of the psyche, the unconscious, and the incredible power we have to transform our reality. Your support is crucial in spreading this message to more people, so leave a comment, hit the like button, and share this content. Remember, when the energy of two souls aligns, their paths inevitably attract one another. But before that can happen, you must first ensure that your own energy is aligned with what you truly desire. Love is not a matter of luck. It is a matter of awareness. And when you begin to live with awareness, everything around you starts to change. Thank you for being here, for being part of this community, and for allowing yourself to explore the deepest corners of your mind and soul. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time.